in so much of my relationship with Islam for a period of time in my life, for a good many years, I really wasn't thinking about God. I was thinking about what I have to do, what I should do, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, other people around me as well. And I forgot to sit and just admire God's perfection, His grandeur, His majesty, and His uniqueness in deciding and ruling. As we said earlier, Noor was talking about accepting that He has better decisions to make for us than our own selves. This is speaking to that it comes from admiring that quality in Him, that we'll be able to accept what decisions come out of that power that He has. So if you're just focusing on yourself and your deeds and what's going on in your personal journey, and then suddenly a decision comes that you were not expecting, and it's as if it comes from nowhere because you haven't been admiring that, every day, Ya Allah, you are the one who decides. Ya Allah, you are the one who decides. And I admire that in you and I appreciate that about you. If you have that kind of reflectiveness and praise that you engage in, then those decisions that don't go your way will not surprise you, because you're already connected to that quality of His, and you've already appreciated it in Him. He's not like some, you believe you're the manager and then some other person comes out of nowhere and manages things for you. Of course you won't like that. But you have to allow Him to be the manager all the time, constantly, and admire that. So what I want to talk about is just admiring His perfection and taking that time in everything that we do to adore Him. And that's what worship really is. That's the beginning and the end of it, is to say, Ya Allah, how amazing you are, how wonderful you are, how beautiful you are. And so often when we pray, we're thinking about our own selves in the prayer. Am I concentrating? Even sometimes at the beginning, how are my hands? At least at the beginning, how are my hands? Are they in the right position? Sometimes we're thinking about, did I make wudu or not? But then even when we get more into it, we're still thinking about, if we get distracted, then we're thinking about how we got distracted when we realize that we got distracted. And sometimes we're just thinking about, I don't know what. Sometimes we're not even there, present at all, neither in our own thoughts nor with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're just kind of, flat screen. So, what would it look like if we were actually thinking about Allah and not ourselves when we're praying to Him? What would it look like if we're actually looking at Allah in a way? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that prayer be like? You'll be released from the tyranny of focusing on yourself, because you will never be happy as long as you focus on yourself, because you are not perfect. And we long for perfection. Allah put that in us, that we long for perfection. We want it in our spouses. We want it in our children. We want it in our parents. And that's why we have so much trouble sometimes accepting who they are and just leaving it at that. We want it in our friends. And we want it in ourselves. And when we let go of that expectation and realize that that was put in us, that demand for perfection was put in us so that we can connect to Allah, so that we want to admire Him. If we didn't love perfection, why would you praise that in Him? If you weren't created to think that that's a good thing. If you were created to look down on perfection and think, no, the great thing is when you have a few faults. That's what's wonderful. We're not like that. We can say that all we want. Oh, I love the faults of my, beloved. No, we say that, but it's not true. We love something that's really perfect, and that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's only Him. He's the only one who's consistent. Every single time, consistent. So, and consistency itself is an aspect of perfection. And that's often why we're upset with ourselves, because we're not consistent. We have our ups and downs. We have our days of sickness, our days of tiredness, our days of lack of enthusiasm, our days of lack of determination, lack of confidence sometimes. But with that and through that, it's again a reminder to say, Ya Allah, look how inconsistent I am, and look how consistent you are. Alhamdulillah. How wonderful it is that you are perfect in every way. So that's what ibadah needs to be. And sometimes we reduce it so much to getting stuff done. As Muzaina said, it's a to-do list. To do it, you have to do the sunnah afterwards, and we have to read this much Quran, and Sometimes we're not even, we're not even close to doing those things. It's not part of our routine, but it hovers there as a kind of, a, wagging finger against us that, other people are reading Quran every day. You know that, right? And you're not, or whatever it is. Tahajjud. Tahajjud is, for us, it doesn't become a feeling of, wow, there's this really cool thing that I get to do. That, I get to actually wake up in the middle of the night and I get to pray and talk to God. Isn't that so cool? It's really special. Instead of feeling like that about it, it's like, oh, other people are praying tahajjud. I'm not, as usual. It's another empty box on my checklist, day after day. So it becomes just a very negative experience rather than being a beautiful journey. And so we need to think about how to shift that paradigm. And it's not, part of it is to accept ourselves, as Fatiha said, but the bigger part of it is to just remove the focus from ourselves and really focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in doing that, you've actually worshipped Him. That is what it is. Even if I don't wake up for tahajjud, if I wake up and say, Ya Allah, alhamdulillah that you are who you are. Asbahna wa asbah al-mulku lillah. I mean, that's it. The morning has come and everything belongs to God. Everything is within His control and power. That is worship. And if you say that with certainty, and if you say that with a heart that's really mindful of what you're talking about, then sometimes with that single word you reach heights of God's pleasure and access to understanding Him that years of tahajjud in a kind of robotic way would not bring you to. So it's really about that connection and that mindfulness.